Ever wish you could just, like, make decisions clearer, like, with the clarity of William James? And be more creative, like Leonardo da Vinci? Well, today we're going to deep dive into Darius Foroux's Think Straight.
Okay.
And it might be like your shortcut to actually doing that.
Wow.
So we're going to unpack how thinking practically, and get this, even drawing, can change your life. So
What's really cool about Think Straight is how Forough takes all these big philosophical ideas,
yeah,
and makes them like totally relatable and actionable.
yeah.
He opens with a story about William James battling depression
Oh, well.
and even thinking about suicide when he was like in his late 20s.
Okay, I'm hooked. So what happened?
So he had this like incredible realization that he could get this, choose what to focus on, like which thoughts.
Right.
It's this like foundation of pragmatism, this idea that we're not just passengers in our own minds.
Yeah.
We have the power to steer,
Okay.
and Think Straight gives us the tools to do that.
So it's not just about, like, thinking more, it's thinking better.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
The book emphasizes that our brains are really, really powerful tools.
Yeah.
And here's the catch.
Okay.
We often use them poorly. We get ruled by emotions, snap judgments, and all these mental shortcuts, like they're called heuristics.
Right, right.
And Forough illustrates it with a story, it's kind of hilarious, about a London apartment.
Okay.
He finds this amazing place, totally falls in love with it.
Uh-huh.
But,
There's a but.
yeah, so he was so excited, he didn't even like stop to consider the logistics.
Oh, no.
It turns out it was on the 4th floor, no lift, and he had to haul all his stuff up these tiny winding stairs.
Oh, I can just imagine.
Yeah, it was a total disaster.
Yeah.
It's like it perfectly highlights the chaos of an untrained mind.
Oh, for sure.
It's like picking the restaurant with the longest line. You just assume it's the best, right?
All right. Yeah.
But sometimes those mental shortcuts lead us astray. Think Straight is about getting to a place of like clarity and intention.
Okay, so how do we do that? How do we think straight?
So he lays out some like key principles.
Okay.
One is connect the dots.
Okay.
Our brains are like these networks that are constantly linking different pieces of knowledge together.
Yeah.
Something that seems totally random today could spark like a brilliant insight later on.
So even if I don't, like, see the immediate use, like right now, it still could be valuable later on.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's like building a mental library.
Yeah.
The more diverse it is, the more connections you can make.
That's a great analogy.
So filtering your thoughts is super crucial.
Yeah.
We're just bombarded with information all the time.
Right.
And those mental shortcuts, the heuristics,
Yeah.
they can lead to like bad decisions.
Yeah.
So Forough, he suggests a filter. It's very simple, but it's powerful.
Yeah.
Focus on what actually works. Does this idea or action get me closer to my goal?
Right.
That's the question to ask.
So it's just like cutting through the noise, right, and just getting to the heart of it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, here's a principle that might sound kind of counterintuitive.
Okay.
Stop thinking.
Wait, what? You want us to just zone out?
Not exactly.
Okay.
It's about becoming aware of those useless thoughts that just clutter our minds.
Yeah.
Forough says 99% of our thinking is just like mental chatter.
Wow.
We need to focus on the 1%
Okay.
that helps us solve problems and move forward.
So it's more about, like, being mindful of what we're letting take up space in our heads?
Precisely.
Okay.
And speaking of mental traps, Forough dives deep into cognitive biases.
Okay.
Scientists have identified over 100 of these thinking errors. Even with good intentions, our judgments can be, like, totally skewed by them.
So we can't always trust our own minds.
That's why Think Straight is so powerful. It helps us become aware of those biases
Yeah.
and make better informed decisions, even when our brains try to trick us.
That's good. So if we can't always trust our gut, what should we base our decisions on?
Facts as much as possible.
Okay.
He contrasts decisions based on facts with those based on assumptions.
Right.
But he also, like, acknowledges that facts aren't always the whole truth. He even cites Nietzsche,
Okay.
who said, there are no facts, only interpretations.
Okay, that's pretty deep.
Yeah.
So what does that even mean?
He's basically saying that we all see the world through our own lenses, right? Our experiences, our beliefs. Even something as simple as our mood can color how we interpret information.
No, even facts can be subjective.
To a degree, yes.
Okay.
That's why it's so important to be aware of our own biases and
Yeah.
limitations, We need to challenge our assumptions and be open to new information. even if it contradicts what we think we know.
Makes sense. So we've got like connect the dots, filter your thoughts, stop thinking, and look at facts. Anything else?
So he challenges this idea that fast thinking equals intelligence. He uses Derek Sivers as an example,
Okay.
who's an entrepreneur who calls himself a slow thinker.
Mm-hmm.
Sivers believes that our first reaction is often like a knee-jerk response,
Yeah.
and we need time to reflect before making a decision.
Well, that reminds me of a time when I impulsively, well, let's just say it involved like a questionable online purchase that I definitely didn't need.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
Think Straight encourages deliberate, purposeful thinking.
Okay.
It's about moving away from like reactive decisions and taking control of our thought processes.
So slow down and think things through, but doesn't that mean like we'll get less done?
Not necessarily. He actually shares his own experience with mental blocks and burnout from pushing himself too hard.
That's really interesting because I definitely feel like I'm at my least creative when I'm stressed and overworked.
Right.
Yeah.
He talks about recognizing our mental limits and incorporating rest and rejuvenation into our routine. He even suggests drawing as a way to escape like verbal thinking.
Oh, okay.
And visualize ideas more clearly.
Like Leonardo da Vinci.
Exactly. Da Vinci used drawing to explore his ideas and inventions.
Okay.
And Foroux himself uses drawing to improve his writing.
I've never thought about it that way, but it makes sense. Sometimes getting out of your head and onto paper can help you like see things differently.
Absolutely. Sometimes stepping away from a problem can actually lead to better solutions.
Right.
It gives our mind space to process information subconsciously and make connections that we might not see when we're like actively trying to force a solution.
So Think Straight is about slowing down, being mindful of our thoughts, and using our brains effectively. But it's also about recognizing that we're not robots. Like, we need rest, creative outlets, and maybe even a little bit of daydreaming to function at our best.
Precisely. It's a holistic approach.
I'm loving this already, but I'm guessing there's even more to unpack.
Oh, there's plenty more where that came from.
Okay.
Think Straight is packed with practical tips and strategies for improving every area of your life.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we've covered like some pretty powerful principles.
Yeah.
Connecting the dots, filtering your thoughts, stop thinking and look at facts. But I'm ready for more.
Okay.
What other gems does Foroux have in store?
Well, he dives into some like really practical advice for like putting all these principles into action.
Okay.
He stresses the importance of self-knowledge, of really understanding like your strengths, values, and passions.
You know, that reminds me of something I've been kind of struggling with lately.
Okay.
I keep getting like sidetracked by all these shiny objects that don't really align with my long-term goals.
Yeah, he shares similar experiences in the book.
Okay.
He talks about how like neglecting self-awareness led him to make decisions that ultimately didn't serve him. Like taking a job that like looked good on paper, but didn't align with his values, or pursuing a relationship that wasn't like truly fulfilling.
Ouch, that's gotta be a tough lesson to learn.
It is, but it highlights the importance of like aligning our choices with who we are at our core.
Right.
It's about asking ourselves, does this opportunity truly resonate with me? Does it bring me closer to like the life I want to create?
So self-awareness is key. What else?
Foroux is a big advocate for reflection.
Okay.
He encourages like regular journaling and reviewing, past experiences as a way to uncover like mistakes, appreciate progress, and like refine our decision making.
I used to keep a journal like religiously, but I kind of fell out of the habit.
Yeah.
This makes me want to like pick it back up again.
It's such a valuable tool.
Yeah.
It helps us like connect the dots between our thoughts, actions, and outcomes. Foroux, he even provides like some helpful journaling prompts.
Oh,
like,
great.
What are 3 things I'm grateful for today? Or what's one thing I could have done better today? And like, how can I learn from it?
Oh, those are great.
Yeah.
Totally gonna steal those.
Yeah. Foroux tackles a topic that like often dominates our thoughts.
Oh, okay.
Money.
Ooh, money. Yeah.
He shares like his own money rules.
Oh, okay.
And emphasizes financial security, smart investments, and avoiding like unnecessary spending.
Right, because money can be like such a source of stress and anxiety.
Yeah.
I definitely fall into the trap of like overthinking my finances sometimes.
His approach is all about, creating a healthy relationship with money. It's about recognizing that money should be a tool that serves like our goals,
Okay.
not something that controls us.
I like that. What else?
He challenges this notion that we need to overthink like every decision.
Okay.
Sometimes stepping back and letting our minds wander can lead to like better solutions.
You mean like those aha moments you get in the shower?
Exactly.
Yeah.
He uses that very example.
Okay.
It highlights how moments of like mental relaxation
Yeah.
can be just as valuable as like periods of intense concentration.
So it's all about finding that balance between focused thinking
Mm-hmm.
and allowing our minds to like rest and recharge.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, are you ready for a like kind of controversial idea?
Hang it on.
Foroux encourages us to embrace unconventional thinking and challenge like traditional approaches.
Okay.
He even critiques the like common practice of making pros and cons lists.
Wait, what's wrong with pros and cons lists?
He argues that they often lead to binary thinking and can overlook like the bigger picture.
Okay.
Instead of limiting ourselves to like this or that choices, we should like explore more possibilities and consider solutions that might not be like immediately apparent.
So think outside the box.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's about questioning assumptions and being open to like new and innovative approaches.
I like that. What else?
He emphasizes the importance of focusing on solutions
Okay.
rather than like dwelling on past mistakes.
Okay.
He even shares a story about a costly email error he made that really highlights this point.
Ooh, tell me more about this email mishap.
He accidentally sent an email with incorrect information
Uh-oh.
that ended up costing him like a significant amount of money,
Oh, no.
like $150,000.
Wow, that's a lot of zeros.
Yeah.
What did he do?
He realized that dwelling on the why wouldn't change the situation.
Right.
Instead, he focused on finding solutions
Okay.
and implementing safeguards to prevent like similar errors in the future.
That's a powerful lesson
Yeah.
because it's so easy to get caught up in like blame and regret.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, it's more productive to focus on what we can learn and how we can like move forward.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Foroux argues that like this approach can be applied to any mistake or
Right.
setback we encounter. It's about like taking ownership,
Yeah.
learning from our experiences, and
Right.
channeling our energy towards like positive change.
Okay. That's making a lot of sense.
Yeah.
What else?
He stresses the importance of attention to detail.
Okay.
He argues that like seemingly small things can have a significant impact on our outcomes.
Right.
He uses like the example of his meticulous writing process, for the book.
Mm.
So even something as seemingly insignificant as like a book title can make a difference. Absolutely.
Yeah. Really?
He shares how even changing the title of Think Straight generated a more positive response from readers, like before they even read it.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
So it really underscores how like the little things matter.
Right.
Yeah.
It's about approaching our work with like a high level of care and attention, regardless of like the task's significance. It's
Right.
recognizing that like even small details can contribute to the overall quality and impact of what we do.
So we've talked about being mindful of our thoughts, making deliberate decisions, embracing unconventional thinking, focusing on solutions, and paying attention to detail.
Yeah.
What else does Foroux recommend?
He encourages us to like develop systems and habits that like reduce the need for constant decision making.
Right.
He uses like the example of creating, a consistent workout routine.
Oh, I love this idea because I spend way too much time debating with myself about like whether or not to exercise. If it were just like a non-negotiable part of my schedule, I think it would be so much easier to like stick to it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He argues that by like automating certain aspects of our lives, we can like free up our mental energy for like more creative and strategic thinking.
Right.
It's about using structure to support our goals.
I'm definitely going to try that. What else?
Foroux shares a like really poignant story
Okay.
about his grandmother and the regret she experienced for not pursuing like her passions. It's a powerful reminder that we shouldn't let like fear or indecision hold us back from living a life that's true to ourselves.
Oh, that reminds me of, well, let's just say I've got a few what ifs of my own.
We all do.
Yeah.
But Think Straight encourages us to like learn from the past without letting it define us.
So no dwelling on past mistakes.
It's about, like, finding that balance.
Okay.
It's valuable to, like, reflect on past experiences, for the purpose of, like, learning and growth.
Right.
But constantly, like, reliving them can prevent us from, like, fully engaging in the present moment.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So learn from the past, but don't get stuck there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Foroux encourages us to be, like, mindful of how we spend our time.
Yeah.
He reminds us that it's our most valuable resource
Yeah.
and that we should, like, prioritize actions that lead to a fulfilling life.
It's so easy to waste time on things that don't really matter. Especially like with all the distractions of modern life,
Right.
it's hard.
It's about being intentional with our time
Yeah.
and focusing on those things that truly align with, like, our values and aspirations.
So Think Straight is about a lot more than just like improving our cognitive abilities. It's about like creating a life that is like meaningful and fulfilling and aligned with who we truly are.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's a holistic approach
Yeah.
to thinking and living.
And speaking of, like, fulfillment, Foroux talks about, like, the importance of finding inner calm
Yeah.
as, like, the ultimate goal of mastering our minds.
He emphasizes that inner peace like isn't dependent on external circumstances, but rather like on our ability to, control our thoughts and reactions.
So it's not about, like, eliminating challenges or achieving some, like, perfect state of bliss, but rather it's about developing the, like, mental resilience to kind of navigate life's ups and downs with grace and equanimity.
Precisely.
And, like, he ties this back to the power of meditation.
Correct.
But he's quick to point out that you don't need to become, like, a Zen master to reap the benefits.
Right, because meditation can seem so intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
Like you need special training or a perfectly quiet environment to do it, like, right,
Foroux, like, demystifies it completely.
Okay.
He emphasizes that meditation can be, incorporated into our daily lives in various ways, from mindful walking to simply taking a few moments to, like, observe our breath.
So even just taking a few minutes to like quiet my mind and focus on my breathing can make a difference.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's about creating, those pockets of stillness in our busy lives.
Yeah.
Those moments where we can simply be present and observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment.
I love that.
Yeah.
What else?
Foroux takes us, like, beyond personal development and challenges us to think about how we can use our thinking to, like, make a positive impact on the world. He shares this fascinating story about the friendship between William James and Charles Sanders Peirce,
Okay.
the two philosophers who, like, really shaped the pragmatist movement.
Tell me more about this friendship. What's so special about it?
Well, James, who had, like, achieved significant success,
Okay.
went out of his way to credit Peirce with the founding of pragmatism,
Okay.
even though Peirce had, like, fallen out of favor in, like, academia
Wow.
at the time.
That's a beautiful example of like generosity and support.
Yeah.
It sounds like Jones really wanted to like uplift his friend and ensure that, his legacy lived on.
It is. And it, like, highlights how we can use our thinking not just to, like, advance our own goals,
Right.
but to uplift others.
Yeah.
And, like, contribute to something bigger than ourselves.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
Think Straight is clearly about like so much more than just like personal success, It's about using our minds to make a positive difference in the world.
Yeah. It's about recognizing that our actions have, like, ripple effects and that we can use our thinking to, contribute to a better world.
Yeah, it's inspiring to think about how like our individual actions, they can contribute to something bigger,
It is. It's like a ripple effect.
Right, exactly.
Cascading outward.
And Fora really emphasizes that like these ideas in Think Straight aren't just meant to be like read and forgotten.
Right.
He wants us to actually apply them.
Exactly.
So it's not just about acquiring knowledge, it's about taking action.
Absolutely. He encourages readers to, like, take time to reflect on the content.
Okay.
And consider how they can, like, incorporate these principles into their own, thinking and decision-making.
So it's a call to action. Like
Ah.
challenge yourself to actually do this.
Yeah, put these ideas into practice
Right.
and see what kind of results we can create.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So he also expresses like gratitude to readers for engaging with his work and invites them to share their stories and connect with him. I love that he's creating like a community around these ideas,
It is.
It's not just about him imparting wisdom.
Right.
It's about like fostering a dialogue and encouraging readers to support each other, on their journeys.
Yeah, that's right. Speaking of journeys,
Okay.
Foroux provides, like, a list of further reading
Okay.
for those who are, like, interested in diving deeper into the philosophy of pragmatism.
Okay.
He recommends works by William James, Charles Sanders Peirce, and John Dewey.
So if you're really interested in like what we talked about today, he's giving you like the next step, to
Exactly.
take it further.
It's like opening a door to a whole new world.
Right, exactly.
Thought and inquiry.
Wow, we've covered so much ground today.
We have.
From the power of choosing our thoughts to the importance of self-awareness, reflection, and even drawing.
Yeah.
Think Straight offers like a truly holistic approach to thinking and living.
It does. And I think one of the most important takeaways is that we have the power to like shape our own destinies. We're not victims of circumstance.
Right.
We have the ability to choose our thoughts, our actions, and ultimately, the direction of our lives.
That's such an empowering message.
It is.
And I love how Foroux combines these like powerful ideas with practical tips and strategies that like we can all start using right away.
Exactly. Yeah.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Think Straight, what are some of the key takeaways that like really resonated with you?
For me, it's the reminder to like focus on what actually works.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get like caught up in overthinking or analysis paralysis. But ultimately, the most important thing is to like take action and see what happens.
Totally. I think I tend to get bogged down in like trying to find the perfect solution, which often leads to like inaction. So maybe it's time to embrace like a more experimental approach and be willing to like adjust course as I go.
Exactly.
What about you? What are some of the takeaways that like stuck with you?
I think the idea of like developing systems and habits really resonated with me.
Yeah.
I'm going to try like implementing a more consistent workout routine and see if that, frees up some mental space for like more creative pursuits.
Yeah.
I'm also going to like dust off my old journal and start incorporating those like reflection prompts.
I love those.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, I think those are great.
Yeah.
And one final thought for our listeners.
Okay.
What is one area of your life where you could like apply the Think Straight principle to make a positive change?
Yeah.
Whether it's your career, your relationships, your health, or like your personal growth. Challenge yourself to identify one specific area where you can start applying these principles and see what kind of impact you can create.
That's a great challenge. Remember, even like small changes can have a ripple effect. So choose one area, take action, and see what happens.
It's been a fascinating journey exploring Think Straight.
It has.
I hope our listeners feel as inspired and empowered as I do.
You too.
To like start putting these principles into practice and creating more fulfilling and meaningful lives.
Remember, the power to think straight and create a life you love is within you. Go out there and make it happen.